but I do think they overperformed, right? And put the expectations a little bit too high. And when he left, unfortunately, he did end up leaving St. Louis City, of course. Jabulo Blom now has followed him, and he's on loan now. He's back at Kaizer Chiefs, which
I am one of the Devil King's generals, and I have been stationed of late at a nearby castle.
Is it too hot?
hello everyone, and welcome to today's episode of The Corner Flag. You are here with your favorite host, Deshane, and we are of course talking about the MLS today and whether or not it's been a good league for us, or it's been a bit shifty. And today's episode is of course sponsored by Reliving Clothing, so you can definitely find them on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you need to find them. They'll definitely lace you up with some nice drip. And let's go ahead and get into our episode talking about the MLS. For a period of time, it did look like the new promised land for South Africans, right? We had a few of these guys flooding over there. Bonga Kuhle was one that comes to mind, of course, going over to Minnesota United. And then we had Cassius Maidula following, going to Toronto FC, as well as Njabulo Blom, who also went over to Philadelphia. And Bradley Condell was also a coach that side, and we already had some existing players who were there, like Wotzikin Tabileng. So we had quite a formidable contingent that side. But the stories haven't quite went according to plan, right? So let's go ahead and start with Cassius Maidula, of course, who is now loaned out to Wydad Casablanca. So he is back in Africa, but he is still challenging himself and putting himself in a new environment in Morocco and playing for one of the biggest teams on the continent. So he's definitely doing well that side, being coached by his former coach at Mamelodi Sundowns in the form of Rulani Mokoena. So exciting to see him back on the pitch. Played his second game at the time of this recording, and he's done reasonably well. But you can tell that Cassius hasn't been on the field in quite a bit, right? And he's had quite a bit of unfortunate luck at Toronto FC as well. Not really his fault for not really breaking into the team. If you ask me, it's not really a matter of quality. And the reason why I say that is because some of the players that are there with at Toronto United, I'm talking about Prince Owusu, I'm talking about DeAndre Kerr as well, the other strikers. In the beginning, they were a bit shaky as well, right? But the only difference is they got the opportunity to keep getting better. They get given minutes. Cassius, on the other hand, he didn't. And if we're looking at the stats, I believe he scored 2 goals and assisted 3 assists as well. But when you think about the games that he played for all of those, they were mostly cup appearances and off the bench. So the stats are actually quite good if you compare it to the actual game time that he got. And he did really well last season, but it came towards the end of last season and the coach got fired. So this is where things went wrong for him, actually. The coach got fired. Toronto FC did not play well. I believe they finished at the bottom of the league. If they had a relegation system, they actually would have been relegated. So that's what happened. And the new coach came in, of course, John Herdman, and he wasn't really keen on Cassius. And it was going to be tough for him as well. I mean, he's starting for positions and competing for positions with Lorenzo Insigne as well as Benedeschi. And those guys are legends, played in some of the biggest teams in the world, of course, your PSGs and Inter Milans, you name them, right? So it was always going to be tough for poor Cassius. But I think it was just a matter of his coach not believing in him, man. I'm going to be making excuses if I carry on with that one. So with Cassius, it's unfortunate, but it's a good thing Lenny called him back, and he will hopefully get his career back on track and work his way back into Bafana, right? And the next player we're going to be talking about did not suffer the same issues, right? As far as the coach not believing in you, and I'm talking about Bonga Kuhle, of course, who plays for Minnesota United. And in his first season, I believe this is his 3rd season playing in the MLS. The first season he came through was bought by Adrian Heath, if I'm not mistaken. So he was bought by Adrian Heath, and finished the season with about 3 goals, which is not that impressive if you think about it, especially because he played the full season. But one thing that he did offer was a lot of speed, especially with the counters and transitions. He could move the ball from one side of the field to the other in a very, very quick pace. So that was one advantage he offered to his team, and his coach actually sat down with him. That's the one thing I will give credit for and why Bongi is so good right now. His coach sat down with him and coached him throughout and was like, boy, look, you're good, you're doing all the nice things of running and all of that, but you need to be in the right spaces at the right times so you can get your goals up. And what did he do? Bongi came through last season with the aim and the target of reaching, I think he said it was 22 goals, 22, 25 goals around there, got to 17, which was a magnificent goal return. If you think about going from 3 goals to 17, absolutely magnificent, right? And yeah, did the most in the cup. Yeah, in the League's Cup. In the League's Cup, he was actually finished the second high scorer behind Messi as well. So that was really, really good for Bongi. And no, that was good from Bongi. That was good from Bongi. And for our next player, of course, that we're going to be talking about is Njabulo Blom, right? Also got bought by a coach who probably wanted to give him an opportunity in the form of Bradley Carnell, South African coach as well. Took charge of an expansion team, and in the first season, they won the league. So it was an absolutely amazing season for St. Louis, but I do think they overperformed, right? And put the expectations a little bit too high. And when he left, unfortunately, he did end up leaving St. Louis City. Of course, Njabulo Blom now has followed him, and he's on loan now. He's back at Kaizer Chiefs, which I don't know, bruh. Like, for me, he spent like 2 seasons there. I really feel like Njabulo, if he believes in himself as much as we believe in him, I would have wanted him to stick it out. Even if he maybe makes a move, but go somewhere else. You come from Kaizer Chiefs, bro. Like, you're gonna spend 2 seasons away from your team, and now you're homesick coming back to the same team. Nah, bro. Come on. Like, you know, he's a good player, but we need him to show it, especially in the middle of the park. We have a lot of players in the middle of the park. Luke Leroux, Thabo Tele. There's just so many players in the middle of the park. So I really would have wanted to see Njabulo Blom, especially because he was coming along quite nicely, right? He was really playing quite well in America. So maybe if we got a different team. Although on the other hand, I do understand from Blom's sake, like, it would be very difficult for him, especially now that the coach that brought him in the form of Bradley Carnell has left. It would have been hard for him, but I think that's part of the growth, right? Our players have been accused many times of not being mentally strong enough, of, you know, adapting to change, which isn't always true, but the fact that they have a trend of coming back, it kind of like plays into that a little bit. So yeah, we'll have to see how he does at Kaizer Chiefs. It is still a loan, so he will still probably go back to St. Louis City, but we'll have to see what happens after then. Is he going to get a permanent move, or what's going to happen? So we'll have to wait up until the end of the season to get the answers to that. And the last 2 players that we're going to be talking about, of course, is Tiken Thabeleng, who started playing for FC Dallas since 2022, but he is a bit of an outcast in South African football. Not really known by too many fans, not really picked by any of our national teams. I think the only time he represented us was probably at under 20 level, and that was the last time he represented South Africa. So yeah, Tiki has been a veteran in the MLS, but as we know, if you play in the MLS, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get a recognition or a call-up for Bafana Bafana. And Bongo Hlongwane is one of our best performers, not just for the team, but in the entire league, and he's still not getting a shot. So yeah, we'll have to see about that. Oluwethu Makhanya as well is another player, moved from Stellenbosch FC, was playing first team football, moved to Philadelphia Union, where he's playing for the reserve side. Albeit he is a starter for the reserve side, so that's quite good, and he does make it onto the bench quite regularly, but he's not really getting first team football like that, right? So depending on how you see it, whether you think he was better playing first team football as Stellenbosch, or you think he's doing well by playing in the reserve side for Philadelphia Union, it's up to you. His age is still on his side, he's like 19 turning 20, but he's in the same boat as Chandra Campbell, of course. Also got bought from SuperSport United, playing first team football, and then now you're playing for the reserve side for Belgium's Bruges. But he did score quite a beautiful goal, his first goal for the team, and that was really good. So he's developing quite nicely, and you can probably say the same for Oluwethu Makhanya. And yeah, that brings us to the end of our video. Please don't forget to leave your comments on any players you thought I left out, or what you thought about the players coming back from the MLS. If you think it's good, if you think that the MLS is maybe a good league for our players to go there and maybe try their luck. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel as well. Until next time, everyone, I'll see you in the next episode of The Corner Flag.